Hey guys, finally we got some news. The developers released a lot of information. Also they hinted a new game mode. Whether or not that game mode is coming with the next patch, we don't know, but at least they are working on something. But let's just get started. But most of all, we wanna analyze the cards. But we're just gonna run through the share exchanges too, because that matters as well. They shortened the seasons from 2 months to 1 month. This only affects ranked, not pro ladder. This only applies to regular ladder. Pro ladder will still last 2 months. Whether this means that they will actually spice up the meta every month or not, we don't know. Whether 1 month long ladder will be more exciting or less exciting remains to be seen. I personally believe that kind of how the ladder works right now. It's a bit grindy. It's not really about getting to your accurate MMR. It's all about getting up to a pretty high MMR, whatever points, whatever we call it. It's not really MMR, because the whole point of MMR is that it puts you on a level where you are and you stay there. But the ladder is not about that. Ladder is about climbing up to a point, you go down, climbing up, go down, climbing up, go down. And this will require you to do that twice as much. Whether that's a good thing, that's kind of up to you. Of course, the rewards will be adjusted in a way. I guess people will get the rewards faster as well. So this is definitely good for the new players. Because if you're just like starting Gwent right now, like you would have started, well, if you would have started Gwent tomorrow and they didn't make this change, you would have to wait 2 months to get anything from the ranked ladder. Well, not really anything, but like the end of season rewards. And that could be annoying. So we shall see how it works out. But yeah, pro ladder will remain the same, so I might need to say it again. Pro ladder is something that kind of encourages a little bit of variety, but for most people out there, it really does not matter. Unless you really just grind it out. Unless you're like getting to the top 200, it's completely irrelevant. And unless you get into the top 8, like the top 200 gets the chance to maybe sometimes go for some kind of a qualifier. But the top 8 is the one that actually gets any kind of relevant points and gets invited to tournaments. Anyway, wow, this became just a lot louder than it should have been. So, Samhain, Holiday of the Dead, holiday event about young Regis and up to the good, 3 normal and expert challenges. So kind of like the Mahakam drinking game festival. It was pretty fun. I think it was like a perfectly good adventure experience. God damn it. So, yeah, similar rewards to the Mahakam festival. Breaking bread with the dead puzzle. Yeah. Well, we're just gonna see. Like, it's really pointless to read about it. Frankly, I would not even wanna. Like, it doesn't really tell me much. And yeah, we're gonna have some card balance changes, 2 new keywords. Negative row effect is this hazard, cleared when other hazards boons are applied to a row, and it replaces the weather tag. So they are all below this new hazard tag, and boon is a positive row effect, cleared when other hazard boons are applied to the row. Fair enough. And yeah, we're gonna see an example of that. So again, Holiday of the Dead. When it comes out, we shall see. Maybe tomorrow. Let's just look at the cards. So, Crow's Eye. A certain... yeah. Let's not read the flavor text. I tend to read the flavor text as well, but let's just focus on what matters. I actually looked at this card already. Damage the highest standing on each row by 4. Increase the damage dealt by 1 for each copy of this card in your graveyard to a maximum of 10 damage. It's a fine card. It's like it gives you 12, 15, and 18 value in an ideal scenario. Possibly more if you can somehow copy it. And of course, in an ideal scenario, you gotta hit units on each row. And it's the fact that it hits the highest enemy makes it more likely that it actually doesn't waste the damage, which is nice, because the Mahawk Empire Technician can be a bit of a joker and just like hit all the ones. But it's the card is kind of like that. You are just trying to punish playing on multiple rows, and that could be hard to achieve, because if you're just hitting your enemy on 2 rows, it's gonna be an 8, 10, and 12, and that's just gonna spell out not worth it, not worth it, maybe. So it's not terrible. It's not terrible, because the average value of that is gonna come down to like a 10, but that's not great. And maybe it's kind of acceptable in a spell deck. So it's not terrible again, but not terribly exciting. Obviously, you want to use it in some kind of a deck that kind of satisfy, or maybe against the particular enemies that satisfy the condition. But yeah, it's definitely not a bad card by any means. And it's a perfectly fine one. Mahakmail, special alchemy card. Boost a random ally on each row by 4. So it's basically a 12. That's pretty easy to set up. A Thunderbolt Potion actually used to be a 12, like a boost 3 adjacent units by 4 each, and this is boost a random ally on each row by 4. So this is very similar. However, Thunderbolt Potion at the time was actually competing with average like 9 to 10 strength bronzes. And now the average bronze strength is like more like 11. So it's gonna be a bit harder to make this work, or make this justifiable. But it's an alchemy card that could trigger it. Like, could make it like Vesemir use it. Could make the 2 strength guy from Day of Guard use it. Novice something something. Also, the elves can reuse it as well. So it's not too bad. Like, I could really see this being used in decks. Again, 12 points is pretty damn good for a bronze, especially if you have other boost or spell synergy, or can just get extra dudes on top of that. Because if you're getting like a 2+ dude on top of this, or one dude on top of this, or even a 3 strength dude on top of that, plus you have like boost synergy or like spell synergy, this could be easily a card that's good. By itself, it's an okay card, and I could definitely see this card seeing play, because satisfying the condition of it is really not that hard, and that's kind of how usually you want to play. You want to play on multiple rows. Mandrake, yeah. I looked at this card, and heal a unit strengthened by 6, or resist a unit and weaken it by 6. Again, this is basically looks like a Mordrim plus a 3, but it's actually better because you actually heal your own unit. So if you have something boosted up on your side, you can still strengthen it and you don't reset the boost. And because it's strengthened by 6, it can be used as carryover. So this also pushes carryover in a way, especially in decks that have ways to get back that units. For example, if you play on Ceres first round and you just like get out, like keep getting out 30-point Cereses, that's fucking ridiculous. And yeah, that's kind of it. If you can take the round with Mandrake, you should definitely consider that. This is a very unique card, and not something that just makes sense right away. Transform into scoia'tael, move to your opponent's hand and reveal. So, you play this special alchemy card with an action, and your opponent gets this card, scoia'tael. Make your opponent draw the top silver or gold card from their deck, or after 3 turns in your hand, at the start of your turn, banish this card and discard a random card from your hand. So, you spend an action, and the ball is in your opponent's court now. Either he chooses to give you a silver or gold card from your deck. Of course, if you don't have those cards, then actually that's gonna do nothing. So that's kind of bad. But that's it. Like, let's just consider the first option here. You spend an action doing nothing, and your opponent, let's just say right away, spends an action giving you a silver or gold card from your deck. And this is a silver card, a silver neutral card, so you can only have one. So you're really not really upgrading your card, because you can upgrade it, because you give away a silver and you get a silver back, or you get a gold. So the likely outcome is still okay, and in a way, it's kind of acts like it's a draw. It's not really a draw, but it's fine, because you do nothing, your opponent does nothing, and you kind of upgrade your silver card for something else. But it's a little bit better than that, because after 3 turns, at the start of your turn, banish this card and discard a random card from your hand. Now that is something that you never want to do, because your opponent, because you lose a card, I'm cold. So, after 3 turns in your hand, at the start of your turn, banish this card and discard a random card from your hand. Like, that is just disastrous. Your opponent spends 1 action, but you end up losing 2 cards. So that is definitely out of the question. However, this card can be played around, and also this can be considered as a way to gain extra value later. But probably not, because you play this, your opponent gets a foul layer, and let's just say it's second round and you won first round, and but what he's gonna do, probably he's gonna play the foul layer, because he doesn't want to just have it last turn and play it last turn, because that would be, because he would just play a 0 tempo card and give you value for that. So that's definitely not what he wants. It's a weird one. This is definitely a weird one, but it can be a very strong one. However, there are problems here. For example, if your opponent passes, if someone passes with this card, then he has the opportunity, and it goes like pass. Your opponent might have the opportunity, will definitely have the opportunity to mulligan this away between rounds. So you gotta be real careful. If you don't have a win under your belt, then your opponent can just afford to pass with it, and that's gonna suck for you. Or also, this can be mulliganed away with cards that actually mulligan away inside the round, like well, like Mulligan scoia'tael has the most options for that. And also it can be discarded as well. And there's a neutral discard option as well, Johnny. So that might see some more play because of cards that we're gonna look at later. So, a unique card. I don't know how impactful it will be. I think it's a bit of an odd one, but I'm looking forward to it. So we shall see. This is definitely a very weird card, and it can be potentially really good, but it's not that good first round, because if it just goes like pass, like after 3 turns in your hand. So if your opponent can just like stall out the round, if you don't pass right away, let's just say you pass with like 1/3 timer on it, and your opponent throws you a spy, then it's gonna be a brutal spy, because you're gonna lose this card, fine, and lose a card as well. So, I don't know. It's a tricky one. I don't know if I'm looking forward to the kind of bullshit decks that are gonna run this, but yeah. I could see this card being impactful. And also, because it's an alchemy card, it can be played with Vesemir. So, that's extra advantage, extra combo we need to consider. Han Marvin's Blue Dream. Deploy spawn a copy of a gold card from your opponent's graveyard, and if it's unit but not an agent, double agent. Because it would be too easy, like you just throw in Dijkstra and it dies and like, hell yeah, Dijkstra again! Even with a boosted Dijkstra, like it would be too easy to control it. You simply need to play a gold card your opponent plays. And this card is okay if people are running generally useful gold cards, but it's not great if they are running very archetype specific gold cards. And also if it's just like an archetype fight of like people just like using the same decks against each other, it might be okay. For example, your opponent plays a Woodland Spirit and you just play it back. You just play a 2 stronger Woodland Spirit. And considering that the gold cards can be killed easily in the round, this could be a better card. And it's a copy. In a way, this is better than just pulling a gold from your deck with boost 2, because you're spending a gold for that. But this way you just copy it. So you're just still gonna have like 3 gold cards, 3 full strength gold cards, plus a gold card from your opponent's deck plus 2, instead of just sending a gold card for simply just for a plus 2 for one of your gold cards. So this is a strong card. Definitely look out for it, but this is not a must include by any means. But this could easily pop up, especially if the meta becomes staler, because this kind of card makes or breaks based on what you're running up against. And if what you're running up against is a big gamble, then probably this card is not gonna be a big thing. But if what you're running up against is pretty predictable, then we're gonna see more of that card. And it's the right condition, then we're gonna see a lot of that. Muzzle, move a bronze or silver enemy with 8 power or less to the opposite row. So basically that's like a 16 power swing. And it again kind of depends on what kind of conditions are we talking about. For example, let's just say that your opponent plays like a 9 power all geared, and you just think about it and you damage it by 1, then you muzzle it and take it, and now it's your all geared, and that's pretty good, right? But it's somewhat situational, and many times it would be better just to like consider assassination, just do like 8 power damage twice. So it's again a very situational card. Very much depends on what are the enemies are running. Most of the time it's not gonna be worth it unless they are running very specific silvers that are close to 8 power. Or maybe again strong bronzes that are generally useful, because many times even if that is a strong ability unit, like whatever, let's just say Farseer, it's not something that necessarily gonna be good for you. Like let's just say like your opponent drops like 2 Farseers. What's better, like killing 2 at the same time? But I know this is a very specific example. Or just taking one for yourself. But guess what? You're not really running a spell deck, so it's not that good for you. And that's usually gonna be the case. Even if you're like taking something like an all gear, you're not benefiting, or like a Morgwarg, you're not benefiting as much from it, like as a Skellige that also has like Ceres in the graveyard and whatnot. So a situational card, which makes it a good card in my opinion. And most of these cards are pretty situational. They're just like, hey, interesting, but you know, like, I'm gonna make this work. Not just like that, oh no, this card is broken. Wolfsbane. While in your graveyard, after 3 turns, at the start of your turn, boost the lowest ally by 6 and damage the highest enemy by 6. So, you discard this card or play it, and after 3 turns, it's gonna give you a 12-point swing. This card is insane. I don't know what the hell they were thinking or what the hell. Of course, you kind of spending a gold on it. But I just say you just... Like, you can discard it with many options. You can discard it with Johnny for one. And you discard it with Johnny, get another gold card, and get like 12 value on top of that. Or you can... I think it's with these cards, like, it also very much pushes getting control of the game. So, looks like the devs really don't want players to be open passing. And they want them to fight over the first round. Just to fight for the control of the game. But the thing is, the second player already has control of the game. And the first player is super mega screwed to try to get control of the game. So, I don't know, because these kind of cards are gonna be ridiculously good second round, and this also kind of pushes the carryover finisher meta, because I just say you have this card and your opponent just have like regular cards, and you play this card round 2, it does nothing, your opponent just says like, hey, I don't have a spy, I don't have, like, I just have regular units, so he's gonna play a regular unit, let's just say something like 11, whatever, doesn't matter. Then it goes round 3, and you guys start playing again, and guess what? The card that did nothing for you, round 2, that you just used to bleed cards from your opponent, was actually carryover for the last round, that's gonna give you a 12, which is ridiculous. Especially combined with cards like Johnny. Johnny can also be combined with Ceres and of course Wolfsbane, so I think they just like really love Skellige. So we shall see. I would be very surprised if this card didn't pop up. Not in every deck. Not in every deck though. I think like definitely discarding it makes the most sense. You don't want to just play it. You don't want to just play it. You want to discard it. You can, I guess, eat it as well. But yeah, that's about it. And you don't, well, you want to do it in a specific way. It's mostly a Skellige synergy card. And that improves the carryover, well, not really carryover, but improves the finisher potential of Skellige. So with this card and this card, they just really emphasize the whole carryover finisher meta with this over the finisher meta and for round 3 and fighting over round 1. So we shall see. Germain of Fox Hollow. This used to be the peasant leader, but they renamed him. The ability is the same though. So 8 power, summon 4 cows, 2 on each side. And of course this card is really good with the support from Northern Realm. Definitely seed support, I believe. And good with Yennefer, good with Commander's Horn. So if you're just running a spam units deck, this is like perfect. But other than that, it's usually like a 12 power only. So I wouldn't recommend it because the base power level of the silvers is 14 now. So this would be underpowered. Unless you're like a new player and just looking to add in like whatever. And you got this. I would like the cool looking, but also really, really bad. I would like the Sage. Elf Mage. 2 power, any row loyal. Spawn a copy of a random different silver unit, gold or silver unit from your opponent's deck. Random. Random. So 2 power guy, and your opponent's gotta have a gold or silver unit in their deck. If not, it's just a 2 power guy and does nothing. If they have one, then he just randomly chooses one, and he spawns a copy of it. Best case scenario, you're getting a gold card that's actually good for you, in the right situation, plus 2 power. Which is okay, I guess. but it's a massive gamble. It's definitely not worth having just a two body on top of that. I would have at least a 6 body on top of that to feel somewhat secure using a massive gamble like this. So they don't wanna have very strong random effects, but I don't know why they really put in these random effects. Maybe just for the lose, who knows? Maybe some people just gonna like the same way like Gaunter. Like Gaunter, they could have made Gaunter like an okay card, but they made it like a total trash joke. And it's the same way with Avalok, the Sage. And maybe they just like gonna have this trash card collection that's full random and it's really bad, but sometimes it's gonna work and everyone's gonna have a lul out of that. I don't know. But that's not really their design philosophy, right? They wanna make good cards. So why are they making like joke random cards? Like, if they wanna, well, okay, fine. I think a lot of people don't want them to really push the randomness of Gwent, but like, then why are you making a card like this? Like, come on, make this better. There's a way this could be usable. I think the effect, not the random part of it, but spawn a copy of a different gold or silver unit from your opponent's deck, that could be a fine effect. This could be like, even if it didn't have random in it, like the fact that you gotta play this, like sometimes you just draw it like last round and your opponent might not have a gold or silver. How about that? You just have like a 2-strength guy and your opponent doesn't have a gold or silver in their deck, and guess what? You're massively punished. And that's not worth it for you. And even like that, even without the random, and even if you had to choose it, even if you could choose it, it would be somewhat of a gamble. It would be fine. But like this, and also something that works for your opponent could easily not work for you. Again, what's synergetic for them? And you're only copying, so you're not really shutting down their strategy, so Avalok. I don't know why they like added this random thing in it. Maybe they were like worried that like it was just gonna be too good. Like there's literally like no concern seeing their opponent golds or silvers because you always know what the hell your opponent is running like 2 days into the meta. So whatever. Unfortunately, it's not gonna see play like that other than for just some joke decks. Ale of the Ancestors. Alchemy Boon, so positive effect, Violent Row, bait the row in Golden Fraught. Golden Fraught, every turn at the start of your turn, boost 3 random units on the row by 1. Gain 6 armor. So, in 4 turns, that's the go-to in value generating cards. It's a 4 power first turn, and every turn at the start of the turn, so not the turn it was played on. So in 4 turns, it generates 3 times 3 value. Maximum value are we talking about? So it's gonna be 13. And in 5 turns, that's the maximum. You clearly expect a positive effect by that point. Actually, by 4, you expect a positive effect as well. You see 16. So this card is not worth it, just simply just for running it. But it could work if you are getting extra value from the boost. Like, for example, you are getting with the Mahakam Marauders, if I'm saying that right. The 7-strength guys that gain 2 strength for every time basically anything happens to them, especially if they're getting boosted. So for that, this is good. For every other situation, you probably don't want it. But this is really good in the Mahakam Marauder deck, so that's about that I can think of it. Slicer the Draconian. And that matters that these guys have a tag like that, because for example the Wyvern is a Draconian as well, or that like benefits from other Draconians, so eventually it's gonna be maybe a viable card if they just keep adding Draconians. But Slizard! Deploy, consume, but without boosting, a different unit from your graveyard that has a copy in your deck and play that copy. So this is basically 3 strength Priester of Freya that thins your deck with consume synergy. That's it. Of course you gotta have like 3 trios, like ideally 4 trios in your deck to really make running free Slicearts acceptable. But if you're like having like 3 trios and you have like 2 Slicearts, hey, why not? So that's totally fine. So Sliceart is just ridiculous, and also it works with like even if you let the consume synergy, it's a free strength, Priestess of Freya. Only reason why it cannot be considered a Priestess of Freya, and somewhat more compared to like a Reaver Scout, is that it just pulls from your deck. Priestess of Freya is also capable of replaying the same card. So for example, you play like 3 times the same card, then you play 3 times after that, so you can play the same cards. But with Slicearts, you don't play the same cards. It's definitely not a concern as long as the other cards are very good as well. So, but yeah, Sliceart is basically a free strength Priestess of Freya that thins your deck and has consume synergy, and that's that. Like, I would be very surprised if I didn't see like 2 or 3 in basically every single deck out there. Because you know what? Having 3 point on top of just is pretty good. So this could be easily, along with the average bronze strength with 11, could be a 14 strength. And with the consume synergy, it can easily be a lot more than that. So Sliceart, what the hell? This is awesome. And also, this could also push the vulnerability of the Neckers. So for example, if one Necker gets shot down and you're just like, oh darn it, I got like 4 Neckers in my deck, how I'm gonna get it out? Guess what? You just play the Sliceart and easy peasy. And you just keep getting those out. Even if one gets silenced, destroyed. Sheet Troll of Vergen. Deploy consume a bronze Deathfish unit from your deck, but without boosting, and trigger that Deathfish. So you can get out the guy that has 2 damage to every single unit on the row and trigger that Deathfish, but that's probably not worth it. You can also get out some Neckers. I don't think this card is that crazy. Perhaps I'm wrong. Of course, it has extra synergy with the Deathfish archetype and the Consume archetype that they are pushing. So, of course, we see more of a Consume synergy and somewhat of a Consume and Deathfish synergy. So maybe it's gonna be more of a thing. But it's kind of hard to say right now. If you have like a really buffed up Necker, then obviously Sheet Troll of Vergen is great. And that you have no other way of getting out. And I guess that's fine, but like you could just do the kind of the same thing by eating a present Necker on your board, just simply. You could just play the Vram for like 6 and, you know, eats a Necker and just gets out another Necker and even keeps eating the Neckers as well. It's kind of the same thing, so not that great for that. And consume, well, it also destroys, right? Consume a bronze Deathfish unit from your deck. So I don't know. It doesn't look that great. So that's all I can tell. It doesn't look that great. It's a fine unit, but it's not really oh my god, OP, it's gonna be me every single deck. I like the Sliceart is. Sliceart is the one that really like stands out as the oh my god OP. Wolfsbane stands out as an oh my god OP as well, but it's probably gonna be in Skellige. And nothing else really just stands out as the oh my god OP so far. And now we got to Venendal Elite. Choose a revealed card. If it's a unit, copy its power, then set that unit's power to 1. If it's a special card, boost up by 9. So, as long as you like click on the spell, you're just gonna get a 10 strength dude, which is not great, but that's a plan B. And the problem with this, revealing cards in your opponent's hand, that it's freaking unreliable. And the only one that really reliably reveals the highest unit is Cynthia. But if you do that, let's just say like reveal whatever. With Cynthia, your opponent's just gonna play it right away because he's smart. And you're gonna be like, oh my god, what the hell? Now, so how do we get value from this guy? Because revealing card the opponent plays is not only useless because we always know what the hell they are running, like 2 days into the meta, but also it's unreliable. Because if you just play Morven, reveal random cards, is that gonna be a good idea? No. That's a bad idea. And also if you reveal cards, and even if we copy their power and set them to 1, like first round, they can be mulliganed away. So the whole making them 1 power could be completely irrelevant. So that's not great. Of course it's great last turn, but you gotta get the last turn. This card is definitely the best used with spies. This is ridiculous with Cantarella. Like even one guy, like I just consider one guy with Cantarella. You reveal Cantarella, and you click on it with Vanandal Elite. This guy becomes an 11 power, which is okay. But also you make your Cantarella 1 power. So that move alone got you... Well, I wouldn't really say... You didn't get a lot of power, frankly. Because 11 is the base power of bronze. But you made your spy 1 power. And that means you kind of have some kind of carryover with that. Not carryover, but like really high tempo. If you play that spy last turn, that's gonna be like so crushingly brutal. In a way, you can just improve your card to be a lot stronger. And you definitely want to play a 1-point spy. And Vanandal Elite definitely has the potential to be ridiculous, especially if you already win the round and your opponent just have to fight you. And let's just say you like reveal like an 8-strength guy and like a 7-strength guy, and even that is gonna be like somewhat-ish okay. I don't think this guy is perhaps best run with hoping that you're gonna reveal a lot of cards, because that is just bloody unreliable. The best way to use this guy is to use it with spies, and in my opinion, play it with Emir, because you can also take back your opponent's spies into your hand, drop them to 1, and throw it back. So that's a good way to do it. Vanandal Elite definitely has the potential to be one of the most bullshit cards ever. And especially run with Emir. And kind of helps the reveal archetype out a little bit, but I wouldn't be surprised to see it in Spy as well, because yeah, you can even like copy the power of like Joachim, and you drop Joachim to a 1, but this guy becomes a 5, which is not a great combo by any means, but then you're gonna have like a 1 power Joachim later. And if you just save up the 1 power Joachim plus the 1 power Cantarella for round 3, it's gotta be a very funny round 3. It could really help to, like, well, help you to have a very strong finisher. But especially, of course, the strongest with a Cantarella. Hefty Helge. Machine. Deploy. If this unit was revealed, damage all enemies by 1. Otherwise, damage all enemies except those on the opposite row by 1. So even if, like, revealing this is definitely not a requirement, but this unit can be ridiculous in the long run, and long runs are usually pretty damn common. Especially, well, like, imagine it like against the Dagon. In the right matchup, or even in the wrong matchup, like, if your opponent has like 6 units on the board, this guy's average. That might seem like a lot, but it's usually not that hard to achieve. Of course, this would be a lackluster top deck in a short round 3, but in like a long round, this is ridiculous. Your opponent could easily have like 10 units, making this an 18. But of course, you're not hitting the units on its row. So let's just say your opponent has like 10 units, and you're only hitting 7, so that's like 15. So that's okay. But if you also reveal it, and against that deck's just really spam units, it's gonna be ridiculous. This deck, I don't know how much you could hit for, like 20 plus extra on top of that, easily. Perhaps 30 sometimes. Hefty Hedge have the potential to be ridiculous. Even better if it actually kills the units. So it shuts down any kind of funny Yennefer business later. But this is definitely not an auto-include by any means. It's a machine. We just gotta see how much people are gonna keep spamming units. So, anyway, catapult deploy, damage the highest and lowest enemy on the opposite row by 2. Fresh crew, increase damage dealt by 1. So it's a 10 base that gets 2 stronger for every single support, making this potentially a 14, which is fine. It's not too bad. I think it's a fine unit. But the problem is, like, the lowest enemy is a bit of an issue. Because if you're hitting, well, if you're hitting on a row, like, for example, like, I don't know, it has like a 6 power guy there, and you just use this guy along with a support, and you just kill that guy, easy. But if you're hitting, I don't know, like, Ciliano Harpy with 2 eggs, like, what is gonna do? Like, hit the Ciliano Harpy, let's just say for free, and hit one of the eggs for 1. Like, obviously you're losing damage there. So, my point is, like, boosting the damage of the against the lowest enemy could easily be just a waste. Catapult most definitely doesn't look like a broken unit, but against the right decks, in the right circumstances, it could be a usable card. I don't think it needs a buff, but yeah, we just see. Especially if support guys have become well, I don't know. I think they are pretty common even these days. So yeah. So catapult looks like an okay card. Roundwood of Small Marsh. 10 power, any row loyal. Whenever this unit discarded or destroyed, set its base power to 1 and resurrect it on a random row. We gotta consider, of course, this is a crewman, so that has some value in itself. And it's gonna come back. It's gonna come back like twice if you play it on first round. But like compared to Olgierd is like a 9 plus 4 plus 2. So it's a 15. And this is a 10 plus crewman, whatever that is worth. Let's just say like 1 or 2. Let's just give it 2, just to be generous. Plus it comes back twice as well, so we are talking about 14. For a faction card. Of course it has extra value. Potentially, if in a meta where no one is running carryover, or like less people are running carryover, because even 1 power can prevent an open pass. But I think Roundwood of Small Marsh is just too small of a fry to really make too much of a difference. Only true power of this guy is that maybe if your opponent is really destroying your crewmans, then Roundwood is a really sticky crewman. But he can also be silenced. Locked, so I don't really see Roundwood doing much. Maybe I should just give my thoughts on how much the faction got stronger based on the cards. This is a good card, and this is a must-have OP card. So monsters got like 9 out of 10. Nilfgaard, that card is like ridiculous, and this card is ridiculous. So Nilfgaard, definitely 9 out of 10. Norrealm, Catapult, meh. I give it out like a. I don't even know. Does this even matter? Maybe that's my rating. Anyway, I guess we can give it like a 3 out of 10. So the all-around players will probably feel somewhat screwed because these new cards probably not gonna see play. The Oblatana Swordmaster. Well, they're gonna see play, but like, are they gonna see truly competitive play? Probably not. The Oblatana Swordmaster, 4 power, and loyal, damage an enemy by the student's power. So basically the old yeah, we gotta see later. Yeah. Old brand ability. And the problem with this that you only have limited amounts of boosts. So, do you have a reason to really run a lot of these guys? It's a 4 that hits for 4. But do you really want to run more of these guys? Because 8 is not a lot to write home about. If you're running boosts, then you want to have, I don't know, less, I don't know, maybe like 1 or 2 of these guys. Maybe, but ideally you want to have 1 and just like murder with it. If you really want to get double value from your boost. And also, if you're running up against spam decks that don't have big units, then this is the whole damage by this unit's power thing. It's not gonna be hugely important. I just say like you're running up against decks that have the highest unit as 6 or 7. Like, okay, you're getting some value out of it, but if you get this up to like a 12, like half of the damage is gonna be wasted. Of course, somewhat more situational, but I'm not perfectly sold on the boost archetype. However, we have an incomplete picture. They didn't tell us how much the other boost units got changed, and that might make this unit more enticing. By itself, I can easily say that you would need a very strong reason to run a lot of these guys, because I would mostly see I mostly see it as a 1 or like 1 or 2 off. Like, you don't really want to run 3 of that. Like, what would be your reason? By itself, it's nothing great. You want to just boost it up, and the only reason you would want to have like 2 of these is that just to make sure that you actually end up with a card that you can actually end up boosting. But of course, Bran is a card that functions the same way as well, and you might want Bran, you might not want Bran. In my experience, you might want to have like 2 of these just to have like just to make sure that you have at least 1 and keep and boost it up. But you're probably not gonna want a lot. Hattori, elf support. Resurrect the bronze or silver scoia'tael unit with power less than equal to this unit. So basically, it's a conditional Sigrifa. It's not too bad because scoia'tael does have some units that low power units that are fine to resurrect, but and also it kind of like it's not base power, so you can buff Hattori up, but you don't want to do that most likely just to enable a better resurrect possibly. So you probably wanna, if you're running a boost deck, you wanna spend your boost on Dobletan as Swordmaster most likely. So you just gotta accept the fact that, hey, you're not gonna boost Hattori up. So I don't know, a worse Sigrifa. This is basically a straight up worse Sigrifa. So I don't know. I think it's still gonna be a fine card, but might not worth it. Who knows? Overall, we getting an incomplete picture in scoia'tael most definitely. And this is weird because, like, we see that monsters are like ridiculous. Nerf got ridiculous, and Noram and scoia'tael. Like, scoia'tael does look a little bit better than what Noram got, which is trash. Like, this is just more of the crappy siege machines, and this is just bad. Mostly bad. Swordmaster is an interesting possibility. We gotta see the options, and Hattori is like Sigrifa. That's definitely more limited. But let's just go to Skellige. And Skellige is great, like, yeah. Let's just see Skellige. Hey May, Battle Maiden. Damage a machine or soldier ally by 1, and play a copy of it from your deck. So this is basically as close to you can get to Reaver Scout without actually printing Reaver Scout on the card, because this is Reaver Scout. That also works with the Raging Berserker. You can just get those out, so that's really good. And yeah, this is gonna be a great card. And Skellige needed this. As much as I might criticize Slice Art, I think monsters in a way kind of needed a card that just kind of independently help them to go through their deck instead of just like, hey, I'm gonna go with harpies, or hey, I'm just gonna go with some spiders. But this kind of opens up other possibilities. Could open up Deathfish and Relic archetypes just being efficient. And I think it's gonna be a stupid card, but in a way it's gonna be a card that somewhat makes sense. And Battle Maiden is, again, really nice to see. It's gonna be really good with the Raging Berserkers. And it just really helps thin the deck, because unless you are running this card, you're gonna be in a big trouble. As Skellige, you won't have a lot of efficiency. You can put in the Sword Chicks, but that doesn't really work so well unless you can guarantee that some opponents are damaged. You can put in the Pirates, but that's, again, that's like, it's not great. Also, some Skellige units like the X-Men have shields on them, so it's gonna make the Heimei Battle Maiden just straight up better. So, well, unless that shield wouldn't be value in otherwise. But yeah, it could be easily a 2 or just proc a unit like the Raging Berserker. So I think it's a very interesting card. It's definitely the way to do Reaver Scout for Skellige. And yeah, I'm happy that we got this. Skellige getting love? I guess. Getting 8 Flaminica. 8 power, any row loyal. Clear hazards from the row. So that means better. Well, it could be any hazard, but like it's just a better clear for Skellige, and move 2 allies to it. And it was a question that, is this card gonna make a Greatsword good enough? And my answer to that is nope, because Greatsword can be easily shut down by Transform, but most likely Resurrect, because your opponent taking your win condition and making it their own is the nightmare scenario. And this doesn't help with that, but it's nice to have, like, and it's not a unit that moves enemies, it actually just moves allies. So that's kind of cool. Not only you can save people from Weather by clearing Weather, but also you move allies into the safe row. So I really like this, and I think it's really nice to see, because Skellige was missing a unit that actually cleared Weather. So, and now I finally got it, and moved 2 allies. I think this card is perfect. I'm not only talking about the art, that is also perfect, but the card itself is perfect. Skellige needed move, and Skellige needed the Weather clear, and it got both in one very cool card. So I truly welcome this. Harald, Hound Snout, spawn Wilfrid to the left, Wilhelm to the right, and Wilmar on the opposite row. Yeah, and this guy is what? Are we gonna see that? Damn. Anyway, I know its ability. So, the Wilmar you spawn on the opposite row is something that plays a curse from your deck. The Wilfred you spawn on your row strengthens the random ally by 3. And Wilhelm that you have on your own row damages all units on the opposite row by 1. So, you can just destroy those, like destroy the ones that are on your side by something, or you can just like Gremist and transform it into a bear, which kills Wilmar on the opposite row. And the maximum power of this is pretty damn impressive, because it's a 6 base plus 3 strengthened, that can be extra value, plus damages all units on the opposite row. That could easily be relevant. But like, even if you just kill Wilmar, we played a curse unit. A curse unit value could be easily, again, we just gotta consider average bronze value, 11. So let's just say 11 plus 6 plus 3 plus hit everything for 1. So we are talking about like 20 here, like at least 21. And yeah, that's kind of crazy. So in the right circumstances, Harald is like ridiculous. And we do see that I think Skellige got really, really good cards. I don't think like it's just like the blatantly ridiculous cards, but it got important cards. Not really Harald Halsnout, but even Harald Halsnout is a good one because the cursed archetype needed a little bit of a push, and it got it because he's cursed himself as well, and needed a neutral way to thin the deck. And I'm definitely the biggest fan of the Skellige cards that will be released in this patch. I need a sec. Monsters, yeah. Overall, that's pretty good. Lower Realm, I think definitely drew the short straw here. I'm not sure why. Maybe they just have something in the works, and till then we're just gonna have these units. But hey, prove me wrong. Anyway, we know about few change cards as well, so let's just check it out. First Light, they actually buffed First Light again. Boost all damage allies under the hazards by 2 and clear all hazards from your side. I have no idea. I actually saw this in the tournament that people were running Golden Weather like a lot, and I didn't get it. I don't get it because Clear Sky is really strong, and how come people are so greedy that they are not even willing to include it in a tournament? It is easily a great trade for you. And the tournament decks were using a bunch of Gold Weather, and none of them, or well, did any of them really have Clear Skies in it? They had some mages that cleared the weather. But did they really use Clear Skies? I think this is just, if nothing, I would have said that the previous Clear Skies change definitely kills weather, but this should double kill weather. Like, I just don't see it. Like, your opponent plays a Ragnarok, and you just play Clear Sky, and your opponent did nothing. You traded a bronze for a gold, and at worst, it's a break-even trade for you if you have more units damaged, because all damaged allies, if you have like a bunch of damaged units, let's just say you have like 5 damage units, then you're getting 10 points, and your opponent did like 4 points of damage, and it's a +6 for you. Like, I just don't see it. I will never run Golden Weather anymore. I didn't even really seriously run it before, and because Clear Sky is just something that really shuts it down, and you can just run it freely, because if it doesn't work out, you play a random bronze unit from your deck. What's wrong with that? Harpy, got a little bit of change. Whenever a beast ally is destroyed during your turn, play 1 copy of this unit from your deck. So, for example, you eat a Harpy with the Vran, then you get at another Harpy, so that's pretty good. It destroyed. It's gonna be it's a bit harder to play, I guess. It's not gonna be like just crazy, the Harpies run out right away, but it's still very much viable, and it still gives you 4 power, so we're just gonna see. Restore, might have changed to Restore as well, that it can only play Skellige units, so maybe that's gonna be enough. As far as I know, Gremist is still not doomed, so that Gremist combo is still gonna be pretty damn good. And Bran, discussion of Bran should be, also Bran and some with Jorvet should come up with the changes to these guys, the Little Britannia Swordmaster, but let's just get to it. So Bran is the Dryad. Damage done by this unit's power, so basically the same thing. If it was destroyed, only if it was destroyed, boost all Dryads and ambush units in your hand and deck by 1. and Dryads and ambush units. That's very interesting. Of course, like, Bran is only 1 point better than the Dobotana Swordmaster. And it can also be, like, if you're just running a boost deck, then you can easily just add in, like, Bran and the Dobotana Swordmaster just as that, just to serve as a target for your boost. And Bran is something you want to play early. If you can't do it, you definitely want to play early and kill something with it early, just to boost all Dryads and ambush units. And the Dobotana Swordmaster is base like 8 strength. The Bran is base 10 strength. They are both like basically give or take about 4 strength below the average. So I don't know. It's a little bit different than with the Dwarf style, because you can somehow guarantee. Well, I guess you can still kind of guarantee. If you like play Broover Hog, you can somehow get a Bran early and just, I don't know, destroy something of 5 power with Bran and boost all ambush units and Dryads in your deck. But is that worth it? That remains to be seen. But that's not the only way to boost your units. We also got Yorvet, because these guys are elves, and Yorvet, it kind of makes sense with that. Because on top of his ability of like 7 strength and hit damage for 7, he now also boosts all elves in your hand by 1. Which now might seem like a lot. It's not that much, but he used to be a 14 only. And now he can potentially get a lot more value on top of that. You can have a like, big hand as well. So playing Yorvet in like first round, I just say your opponent played a Imperial Brigade. You kill it, you got 13 value. You just say like, hey, what was the big whoop? But if you're like holding on to like 7 more elves or like 8 more elves in your hand, then hey, guess what? It's pretty good. So yeah, Yorvet is playable now, especially if you're just running an all elf strategy. So yeah, it's nice to see. I think it's a fine buff. But also, well, you might want to run it with a Royal Decree, just to make sure that you're actually gonna get Yorvet more reliably. So that's that. That's a bit of a bummer that, you know, you just gotta... That's the only way to really guarantee or like make it more likely that it's just gonna happen. Reinforced Siege Tower, boost self by 2. Fresh crew, repeated deployability. So it's like a 10 base. But yeah, you can just keep putting supports next to it, and it's just gonna get 2 stronger every time. That's not so bad at all. So this is a good way to get some fresh crew value to right away. But of course it's gonna be a bit hard to keep affecting 2 siege towers. So if you're like 2 siege towers, let's just say like you play 2 of them, you put a guy in the middle like, hell yeah, I did it. But then you're gonna have like a siege tower, dude, a siege tower, and you're gonna choose between the siege towers. You can only still buff 1 only. So unless you just like keep replaying the dudes, something like that. That could be a thing. I guess that could work. You gotta be tricky about it. But this should make the siege tower maybe more usable. Who knows? But it's still pretty damn awkward that, you know, if you just like, let's just say like you put in like 3 in the deck, and like you just play like 2 and you put a guy in between them and say just like, yeah, I did it, but no, it's kind of awkward. I just find this unit awkward. Goal actually got buffed, and it was already ridiculous because you can just eat a relict fiend and it could be a 15 strength easily. It actually took the back seat a little bit because of how ridiculous the other strategies were. But consume a bronze or silver unit from your graveyard. This actually doesn't improve its strength too much, but it's a nice change. So goal, you might get your chance to shine. Who knows? Light Longship. It's actually a 1 strength buff to the Light Longship. Damage enemy unit to the right by 1, then strengthen self by 2 every turn at the start of your turn. The only difference is that it has a deployability that basically does the same thing as the every turn ability. And that's actually gonna be more reliable, just in case, just to, you know, really wanna get the thing started right away. So, I think this is totally fine and totally warranted. And Leto of Goulet, they're spying, set on base strength to 1, destroy units adjacent to this one, and boost up by their power. They don't get it. I think is this 12 base strength is the full black plan. This is plan B. So it doesn't matter. Well, the main power of this 12 strength is not because, well, as a plan B it sucks. Maybe you want to run it in some kind of a, I don't know, would you really want to run it in a reveal deck? Because if you reveal Leto, and let's just say the spotters can like get stronger by his strength, but he's so bad, isn't he? He's so bad. It's good with the spotters, I suppose, but sending him in is still pretty damn bad, because you can just play an infiltrator that has 9 power and makes 1 unit a spy, and Leto is a -1 that makes 2 units a spy and the gold card. So you're expected to get 16 more value than the infiltrator, but only from adjacent units, not just like any units on the board, but adjacent units. And that's pretty damn hard to get. Even getting plus 16 value from 2 any units on the board would be hard, because you're basically looking for a plus 16. But like adjacent units, that's damn hard. It used to be a unit that affected like 4 units. That's gotta be, that was pretty good. But like that, but right now it's only 2. If you could select 2 units, I would give it a maybe. If you could only, if you hit 4 units on the same row, I would give it a very strong yes. But like this, I don't know. I think the adjacent tag needs to go. It's just too easy to play around this card. And why would you take this massive risk? I guess it's not a massively insane risk anymore, but it's still pretty damn insane. Because you are, the plan B of like dropping him as a 12 is not good enough, unfortunately. Because the average gold strength is 17. And having a 12 strength guy is just not gonna cut it. And I just don't see, like, maybe you can make this work as some kind of a reveal-y deck with Meno, where possibly you get some value, but you would also need to move very specifically, but your opponent is gonna not realize it. And like, let's just say like your opponent has like 1 crazy card and like 2 crazy cards, whatever, it doesn't matter. And you, even if you like move them next to each other, your opponent might just put like a unit in the middle, because he's just like, hey, what's up? You gonna let me? And guess what? You're not gonna after that. So it's too easy to play around, in my opinion. But I guess this is gonna be a bit of a help, but not enough. Anyhow, that is all. Of course, this card is coming out next week, and she's pretty hungry. So that's that. that's the entire thing. So tell me what you think. Finally, patch. I like it. I would like it more if there was a draft mode coming out. I'm not sure about the 1 month ladders. Could be cool. Maybe could be something that doesn't interest me. And there are definitely some interesting cards coming out. I'm really a huge fan of the Skellige changes and the art. I just love the art all around. And we are definitely looking forward to the other change cards, because we have somewhat of an incomplete picture. I know, and I know some of you are hard at work at making decks. And they seem to not break the current decks that much either, so we just have to see. But I do hope that it's gonna be spiced up, you know. If not, I don't really want to like the current deck to be completely invalid. I don't think the devs are going for that. But I do want to see new contenders rise up and possibly take the crown. So anyway, that's it guys. Thanks for watching and see you next time.